Welcome to Chapter 2.1, Homework Help. This will be problem 12 on page 170. The instructions read, find the intercepts and graph by plotting points. So the first thing that I do is take a look at the particular problem. And then this one is y equals x plus x minus 6. And I try and notice things about it. The first thing that I notice, because I've done algebra before, and you should notice too because you've done algebra before, if not college algebra, is that y equals x minus 6 is in the form y equals mx plus b, right? Which we know is the slope-intercept form of a line. So we know that y equals x minus 6 is going to graph as a line. Now, in order to find the intercepts, that is the places where the line crosses the x-axis and the y-axis, I need to find out what happens when y equals 0. Now I want to tell you why I'm looking at that. The intercepts are where the graph of the line will cross the y-axis, this one here, let me get my pen, and where it will cross the x-axis here. Well, when y equals 0, this is y, so we find where y equals 0, and that's right here at this point. When y equals 0, x could be any number of these things. Y is 0 at this point, and at this point, and at this point. This whole line, the y-axis, the x-axis, I'm sorry, is the line y equals 0. So I want to know when y equals 0, where are we on our line? I don't know if any of these points here that I've just drawn are, I don't know if any of these points here are actually on my line, y equals x minus 6. So what I need to do is find out when y equals 0, where does my line fall? So when y equals 0, we have the equation 0 equals x minus 6. I take the equation y equals x minus 6 and substitute in 0 everywhere I see a y. And I get 0 equals x minus 6. I add 6 to both sides. And I get that a positive 6 equals x. Now I have a point on my line where y equals 0, somewhere here on my x-axis, x will equal 6. Look, I did actually draw a point on that line, but this is the one. This red point, if you're looking over at the graph paper on the right, is on my line. It is the point 6, 0. And whenever there's a 0 in our xy coordinate, that is an intercept. Because if the y is 0, it's an x-intercept. If the x equals 0, now let's try and find what happens when x equals 0. Because if the x equals 0, now we have this line here, which is x, the x equals 0 vertical line. Because all along this line, the x coordinate, right, is 0. It's not x equals 5. No, that would be this line. It's x equal, not using my pointer. It's not x equals 5. That would be this line here, this vertical line. It is x equals 0. So when x equals 0, we are on our y-axis. And what we do to find that out with the equation now is to substitute into our original equation y equals x minus 6, y equals 0 minus 6. And since the 0 can basically go away, right? We don't have to draw it anymore. It's y equals -6. We have a point on our line. When x equals 0, y equals -6. That's down here. Look at the graph. There's a red dot on the y-axis at y equals -6 and x equals 0. That point is x equals 0, y equals -6. That's the 0, -6 y-intercept. My E didn't work for some reason. And now we've plotted our intercepts. And because we know that it's a line, we can draw the whole line. A line only requires 2 points. So we can connect our points. If you can use a straight edge on your graph paper or just freehand it, but I also noticed that our slope, the m here, is 1 because there's an invisible 1 as the coefficient of x that is the slope, y equals mx plus b. So that is how to solve that problem. We have now found the intercepts and graphed by plotting points. The last thing we need to do, because I didn't write all of the instructions, I skipped the part that said be sure to label the intercepts. We have already drawn the intercepts, but we need to label them. So that means putting those xy coordinate pairs, this is x equals 6, y equals 0, and this is x equals 0, y equals -6. Now we have labeled our intercepts and graphed our line. That's how to do it.